I want to take you live to our proceedings that is currently happening, where we do understand there is an AI conference currently happening here in the capital, where the Principal Secretary for Basic Education, of course, also will be there as well. But before that, let's go to the AI conference that is currently happening here in the capital. Our reporter Sarafina Robi is on the ground for that particular bit.
Improve the economic position of Kenya. Thank you. And my parting shot, I think I want to say that technology has come. It is supposed to benefit us. Let's join together as Africans, and also as we go to the globe, the global north, understand us and give us solutions that fit us. And above all, listen to us so that you can give us solutions that fit us. Thank you.
Very, very strong message and well taken. Asa, please.
Sure. So very quickly with the ethics and safety framework, at the end of the day, we recognize that Africa and Africans have our own values. We have our own ethos. There are these ethical frameworks that have been recommended. We need to see what aligns with our ethos, our existing values, and find where that meeting point is, if any. Because at the end of the day, it will be driven by our values that we have in each country, as well as the nation. So whether it's a safety institution is a necessity or not, it may not be under that name. It could exist in a different form as long as it reflects the values and ethos that we have in place. I think the conceptual framework one is a bit of a longer discussion to have, so maybe we can have that discussion separately. But in general, it's identifying what parts are breaking points, that what features may be a breaking point that do not allow us to continue, versus something that would reduce our ability to implement, but the value we would get out of it could still give us the necessary insights to continue drive the solutions and the opportunity. And very quickly with the data one, an interesting story from Tanzania. There was a solution that people wanted to build to support differential diagnostics, so supporting community health workers in diagnosing diseases. The usual approach is use a machine learning framework where they can put in existing diagnostic information from doctors and patients, build a model, run it, see what happens. A lot of that data isn't digitized. A lot of it, if you try and read doctors' handwritings, isn't a fun process. So instead, they were like, okay, we don't have the exact data we need. Can we create our own data set? So what they did was they hired doctors as consultants and was like, we're going to sit you down and run through an entire process as if you're diagnosing a lot of patients. And they built their own data set. The system that they ended up using might not be some of these fancy machine learning, deep learning models, whatever, but they built a simple system that could solve the problem they were hoping to solve. So in these areas where we might be lacking data, what are interesting approaches we can take about? Synthetic data is a big approach that's being explored recently, but how can we leverage our existing experts in the ecosystem? We have agronomists, we have people who've been in the education system for years, who have a wealth of knowledge. How can we bring them in and build with them? Keep it user-centric, keep human in the loop. And as a final takeaway, a lot of our AI development in Africa is looking at application. We are taking models that have been built and we are trying to mold them into our own situations and applications. But rarely do we see work happening in foundational AI development. Models that are built based on the African context from the ground up, that foundational research, such that you find up until recently, the global conference for AI research and development, the NeurIPS, did not have African representation at all, up until very recently where a Tunisian company submitted a paper. So the takeaway is it might not show dividends today or returns today, but we need to invest in foundational research.
Yes.
That will really allow us to take that leapfrog, that will allow us to build models that are very contextualized and will show dividends in the next 5 to 10 years that come.
Thank you so much. We don't have more time because we need to bring the other panel.
Yes.
But this has been an amazing conversation. I think that it's very clear that it's not about just taking the technologies as they are is about decomposing the elements to make sure that they represent well the African spirit, the African mind. On the question, it was just amazing what I'm hearing here, because it's just so clear in the sense that we are not just trying to accommodate Africa to the technological developments as it is. You want to shape the technological development to represent Africa better. And I think this is amazing, because this is a very strong message from the Global Digital Compact. And I recommend actually the public to get into Harvard, just produce a paper that was so telling. These technologies are thinking technologies, built to think. We prompt them, we put them a question, then we develop the conceptual framework, we do the data, and if not data, we do the generative AI. But whose thought is it fit from? What way of thinking? How do we define human? How do we define the outcomes? Don't take it for granted. Do we get the Ubuntu there? Do we get this understanding that I am because you are, and you are because the nature is there that is so African? Or do we have a more individualistic representation of humans, which is valid, but is very belonging to another culture? This is the kind of reflections, and more than anything, I take also something that I heard from the Global Forum on the Ethics of AI in Slovenia. The countries that participating there, 67 countries, majority from the Global South, saying we want to develop our own technologies. That's a litmus state. Good for application, good for taking advantage, but we need to develop our own solutions. Thank you so much. It has been so enlightened to me. And I guess also for the public, and we take your messages because we continue this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Another round of applause to the panel. Thank you very much, and for managing it within the time. And may I now welcome the second panel.